radio, glowing magic transistor radio, glowing magic transistor.
Hello YouTube and YouTubettes. Welcome to another album review. Today I'm going to review the Radar Bros album, The Singing Hatchet, released on September 28th, 1999. Producer was Jim Putnam, and this was recorded in Skylab Studio. The label was Chemical Underground. I'm not sure where or when I discovered them, but they have a very groovy folk sound that caught my attention. I want to say that I first heard them maybe on Spotify or Pandora, or it could have just been like most of my albums that I've discovered. They were on a display on the wall at the record store, but I don't know for sure. But all songs in the album are written by the Radar Bros. The album cover is a nice picture of a man, and I'm not sure if he's in the Radar Bros or not. I couldn't find any info about the photo, but it's a very nice photo that makes for a good cover, and I give it a 9 out of 10. Now on to the songs. Track number 1 is called Tar the Roofs. It's a fairly short song. I love the way it's kind of got this radio static at the beginning and then throughout the song in the background. The violins or whatever is playing in the background has this haunting old recording sound that I think reminds me a bit of Sparkle Horse, something they did a lot. And it's a very pretty and simple song. It's quite short, so maybe it doesn't do as good as the others. The strength of this song, I think, is the lyrical poetry. I think it's got really good lyrics. But overall, I give this one a 7.8. Track number 2 is called Shifty Lies, and this has kind of a boring guitar part and melody in the verse. I mean, it's not boring like pop music boring, but it's just basic. But I think it really picks up in the chorus when it starts singing the Shifty Lies part, and I think it sounds much more interesting in that section of it. When I say boring, I mean for like indie kind of folk music. I'm not a big fan of the way the guitar is played, but it's still better than 90% of the music out there. And so the strength of this song, once again, is the lyrics. And overall, I give this one an 8.2.
Shoveling sun's keeping us awake.
Track number 3 is called Shoveling Suns. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. It's just a nicely written song. Once again, not my favorite in terms of the way he plays guitar, but it is just a good melody line, good lyrics. It's kind of catchy, and I like his voice. You know, I haven't said that yet, but he has a very good voice. Just raw, just himself, and not trying to sound like other people. So really do like this song, and I give this one a 9.0. Track number 4 is called All the Ghosts, and this is another basic song, except that he adds piano to this one. This is the first song on the album, I think, where piano is prominent, and he does some interesting things with the piano. It's not just playing the chords, but he plays some interesting backing parts with it. And other than that, it's similar in quality to previous songs so far. And I would say there's things, if I'm really focused in on it, it's a very good, interesting song. It's not necessarily one that pulls me in, so I didn't give it as well catchiness-wise. But I do think it is very pretty, and I give this one an 7.0. Track number 5 is called Find the Hour, and this has some interesting chord changes. I think that's the best thing about it. I also like the organ sound in the background, but other than that, it's not a song that pulls me in too much. It's another one I have to really focus on, but I think the chord changes make it really interesting. And but again, it's not one of my favorites. Also has good lyrics once again, but overall I give this one a 7.8. Track number 6 is called You're on an Island, and this has a very interesting keyboard sound coming in at the beginning. It pulls me in right away, whereas some of the other ones I kind of have to get pulled in, and it takes a little time. But this one pulls me in right away, and then it has a very nice kind of groovy backbeat kind of melody. I don't know how else to explain it. Then it gets into this instrument section of guitars. I really like the way the guitars are played on this, and slide guitars as well. So the music has a lot good going on, and one of my favorite songs, and I give this one a 9.2. Track number 7 is called The Pilgrim. I love the way the guitar is played on this one, and it just grooves along, and then it has a very nice melody line, and then it gets into this beautiful, the chorus with all the harmonies, just incredible. Really good song. One of my favorites, if not my favorite, on the album. And I give this one a 9.6. Track number 8 is called You've Been Hired, and this probably has one of the catchiest, musically speaking, up to this point. And there's moments in there that tries to be interesting, it's somewhat interesting, and it feels like it's about to go somewhere, but it doesn't really. I don't know how else to say that, but it's just, there's a good song in there somewhere, but it's not quite coming out. I don't know. I don't hate it by any means. I mean, it's not. None of these are skip worthy, but that's just my overall thoughts of this one. And so overall, I give this one a 7.6. Track number 9 is called To Be Free Again. At first, this sounds like it's going to be boring. I don't care for the way the guitar is played, but just a few bars into it, there's this weird chord change, and that happens several times, and so that makes it interesting. But the verse is somewhat boring with the exception of that weird chord change, and then the chorus is incredible. The chorus is just amazing. I just love his ascending vocal on that. And it sounds like a song that's going to be boring, but it just does enough to make it interesting. And that chorus being really good also brings up the score. And overall, I give this one an 8.6.
5 miles of unused highway.
Track number 10 is called 5 Miles, and it kind of sounds like a demo at first, just very underproduced. But, and probably I never really listened hard to this song, because as I was listening to it to review, I noticed how artistic and creative this one is. It is definitely the weirdest song on the album. So I really enjoy, first of all, I enjoy the guitar effects on the after I don't know if you call it the chorus, but it's the first instrumental, after he sings the instrumental section, and then it gets into these really weird chord changes and melodies. And so for that reason, I give it a 10 on, artsiness wise. It does lower on catchiness because it is very strange, and it doesn't really pull you in unless you're really focused on it. But I think it has things to be appreciated. But overall, I give this one an 8.0. Track number 11 is called Open Ocean Sailing. This is another interesting song, one that I hadn't really noticed too much, but I think there's a lot of interesting things in here as well. Another very interesting and artistic and creative and weird kind of song, but it sounds like it's kind of going into a normal thing, and then it has all these weird chord changes and things. So I think this is one that could grow on me even more than it has. And just listening to it, I realized there's some really cool things in here. But I give this one an 8.6. The last song on the album is called Gas Station Downs. Another very interesting song. I think it's perhaps the best produced song on the album. Really good arrangements. Another song with interesting chord changes and weird melody lines and things. But also another song that I never really got into or put on my playlists or things of that nature. But as I investigated this song for the review, it's another one that I think could really grow on me, and there's a lot to like about it. And overall, I give this song an 8.4. The album flow is a 10 out of 10. I think the entire album has a very consistent feeling to it, just obviously one single vision, so a 10 out of 10 for the flow. This is a group that there's just something about them. I mean, just about every song that I hear is interesting. It might have a basic idea of a boring song in terms of the way they play guitar, but the chord changes and the melody lines are consistently interesting, and throughout the album, they throw in these little things that surprise you throughout. And so this is just a band that I think is very underrated, and it's one of those that when I'm not thinking about them, it's not like I think how great they are, but when I listen, it always pulls me in. There's just something trippy about them. So now I will pull out my handy dandy computer and calculate my formula. And overall, this album gets an 8.56 out of 10. Thank you and have a wonderful day.